And blessed to be a part of your day. We'll get to your phone calls in a minute. Joining us now, the founder of the Center for Protection of Intellectual Property, director of academic programs, and a senior scholar, our great friend, Dr. Adam Mossoff. Dr. Mossoff, thank you for joining us once again.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, before we get to talking about intellectual propriety and protections and such, obviously Washington and the nation stir a buzz about what happened in Florida.
Oh, yes. Yeah, a real tragedy.
Indeed. Of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to those folks. So as we take a look at our competitive place in the workplace about protecting our proprietary rights, where are we, sir?
Oh, so thank you. So this is such an important issue because we're talking about, the innovation, Thomas Edison's inventive activities, the Wright brothers, Nikola Tesla's invention of electrical motors, who Elon Musk has named his company after Tesla. These are the things that have driven our economy, our growth, our flourishing society, the miracle drugs we take today, the technology we use, and this is all supported by our patent system. It's a really unique American approach to securing rights to inventors and innovators, and it's under attack in this country, and we need to be sensitive to this, and we need to become aware of it and just try to stop it.
How is it under attack, and how do we protect ourselves from predatory countries like the Chinese who seemingly don't respect our laws and our patents?
That is an excellent question. President Trump mentioned the importance of protecting intellectual property against China in his State of the Union address. One of the very first times in modern history that an American president has mentioned intellectual property in a positive way like that. But surprisingly enough, the attack is coming internally. Our patent rights and other intellectual property rights are under attack by our own government institutions, even more so than they are by China right now. And this was revealed just this past couple weeks in a very famous world ranking of patent systems by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. This is a very highly regarded ranking they've been doing for many years. And when they first started it, long time ago, the United States was number one. We had the number one ranked patent system in the entire world. Provided the strongest protections, most stable and effective property rights for innovators, like people like Thomas Edison, and then Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and others today. And then we slipped to 10th 2 years ago, and then this past year we slipped to 12th. And it's because we have this regulatory agency that's out of control at the Patent Office that is just willy-nilly killing off patents without protecting the rights of innovators. And we've had changes by the Supreme Court to the very basic rules of what it means to get a patent. And these are the sources of how we've kind of undermined the very ability of innovators in our own country to get protection for their ideas.
Dr. Mossoff continues to talk to us from the Center for Protection of Intellectual Property here at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. So what does this mean, though, for folks in Idaho that go, well, I'm not going to invent anything. It doesn't impact my life, sir?
Well, actually, there's two reasons why they should care about this. One is that people do invent things from all over. And innovation comes from all sorts of interesting places. This is the classic, garage inventor phenomenon that we have in this country. And people came from all walks of life in this country. This is part of what has made America America, is that you can be a farmer, you can be a mechanic, you can be an office worker, and you can be that source of that great next idea that becomes a driver of our innovation economy that ends up becoming leading to our smartphones and other things. These all came from individuals. Thomas Edison was working on a railroad line as a railroad conductor when he first started coming up with some of his innovations. And so this has always been the key aspect of America, is that we provide innovation through our freedoms and our protection of our rights, life, and liberty to everyone. And everyone is capable of creating. And then the second reason why people in Idaho should care about this is because we're talking about the very basis of all the innovation and foundation of our innovation economy in this country. So, the drugs you take when you go to the doctor, the phones you use, and the computers in your desks in your office, and even the technologies you use to farm and to ranch, and to grow new crops and to have better animals. All of that comes from innovation driven by the patent system, by the securities provided by the patent system. And so we need to make sure that we protect this. This is the golden goose that's been laying the eggs in this country for over 200 years. It's in our Constitution. The founders recognized the importance of patents and copyrights by putting it in the Constitution. And if we kill it off ourselves, we've got less worries about China because China actually is providing stronger IP protections right now in some respects than the United States is to its own innovators. And so then our worries about China isn't that they're stealing our stuff. The worries about China will be that they're displacing us as a source of innovation.
Well, and that's the scary part. Isn't it amazing? And Dr. Mossoff, you've dedicated your life to this, but you go back to the founding fathers and their need to put these in. Of course, many have speculated that our friend Alexander Hamilton didn't really respect the laws of Europe and grabbed some of their things, it's been written, and brought them over here. Your thoughts on just the historical nature of the founding fathers and maybe a shot or two about our friend Mr. Hamilton.
Okay, great question. Also, please just you can call me Adam. I'm a fairly informal person. No, this is a great question, Kevin. And and look, as I mentioned earlier, the founders put the power of Congress to protect patents and copyrights in the Constitution, and a lot of people have forgotten about that or don't realize what achievement that represents. That was the very first time in human history that the power of the government to protect these fundamental rights of creators and innovators was put in a founding document of a country. I mean, it was an incredible moral achievement of the founders that they recognized that inventors and creators have the same rights to the fruits of their productive labors as the labor of a farmer, as the labor of a mechanic, and in fact, that the labor of a farmer and mechanic relies upon the innovations that come from the creators and the innovators. You know, the plow and the mechanized reaper and from Eli Whitney and all of those new products that made those things the Industrial Revolution possible. And so it really was quite an achievement. It's part of the American exceptionalism that historians refer to. You know, the focus of America on protecting the rights of all individuals to life, liberty, and property is so fundamentally included in intellectual property. In fact, George Washington was an early example of what we would now call an angel investor or venture capitalist. He provided seed funding to some inventors and innovators for steamboat technology, and he openly and willingly paid licenses to use patents. This is George Washington in the 1790s. He didn't have to pay licenses. No one would have sued him for patent infringement, but he did because he recognized that these were important fundamental property rights. Now, I don't know the story about Hamilton, but the problem with historical stories is that there's lots of anecdotes that float around about people taking things, and you'd have to know the full context of it and what really happened, because at that time, for instance, in that era, intellectual property rights were very much forced locally, domestically in each country. So the United States had their rights, and Britain had their IP rights.
It was from the Chernoff book, so.
Yeah. So I to be honest with you, I don't recall that story, and I don't remember it precisely. I mean, there were some technologies. I do know that there were some technologies that were brought over from England to the United States. But the point being that, very quickly on, and I think this is the more key point, we quickly displaced England. And again, this is something that people don't recognize today either, is that, when we broke from England in the 1780s and 1783 with the conclusion of the American Revolution, we were primarily still an agrarian society. We were massively in debt. England thought that we would soon come begging back to be joined back into the Commonwealth. And a mere 60 or 70 years later, at the very first World's Fair at the Crystal Palace Exposition in 1850, we were marveling the world with our innovations, with the electromagnetic telegraph, Samuel Morse's telegraph, Samuel Colt's repeating firearm, the mechanized reaper, the cotton gin, vulcanized rubber from Charles Goodyear, the sewing machine from Isaac Singer and Elias Howe and others. And this was all driven by our patent system. And so, the source of America's innovation and how we became the shining city on the hill that the founders saw the United States as representing was very much part of and driven by our willingness to protect innovators and creators through our patent system.
Adam Mossoff joining us, Center for Protection of Intellectual Property. A final thought, just throughout your study, sir, your thoughts on Tesla.
Oh, Tesla, a great example of how the United States is the shining city on the hill. So, he was a foreigner. He came to the United States because he had all of these incredible ideas about technology and electricity, and he openly and willingly embraced the patent system as a way for him to be a full-time researcher and developer, the same way that Thomas Edison did as well. because he didn't want to manufacture, he didn't want to be an industrialist, he just wanted to invent. And you get the property right in your idea, and then you can transfer it, you can sell it to someone else or license it to someone else. And just like a landlord will license or transfer their property rights to someone to rent, become a tenant. And he was able then to fund his inventive activities and have the freedom to do so in this country. And as a result, like Thomas Edison and like the Wright brothers and Alexander Graham Bell with his telephone and many, many others, he helped drive an innovation economy in the 20th century that became the marvel of the world again, just like we were in the 19th century.
Okay.
And Americans really need to, your listeners really need to know this, and they need to stand up and say to their representatives in Congress, support the Stronger Patent Act. There's actually legislation to try to correct our slipping in the rankings, the weakening of our patent rights. It's called the Stronger Patents Act, and they really need to support that.
Who invented the radio, Marconi or Tesla?
Marconi was primarily the inventor. Tesla did some very important contributions to it.
Adam, your website, if people would like to get more information to strengthen ordinary Americans' ability to create something and to protect it.
Well, I address them to two websites. So one is my center's website that you mentioned when you introduced me, the Center for the Protection of Intellectual Property, and that's cpip.gmu.edu. It's an academic center where we produce research and reports, and we do letters and file briefs and things of that sort. But we also, there's an organization called the Regulatory Transparency Project, of which I'm involved with, where we actually did a white paper that explains the problems with this regulatory agency that's out of control at the Patent Office called the Patent Trial and Appeal Board, and how it's killing off patents and why this is a concern. And it's not pitched to lawyers. That's the whole point, is that when we don't want lawyers know this stuff. What we need to make sure is that people everywhere know about this and are understanding what's wrong with it. And so we highly recommend going to it. It's called so go to regproject.org. It's part of the Federalist Society, and they can read this white paper and understand why it's important to support the Stronger Patent Act and just stop the administrative destruction of patent rights by the administrative state, by the regulatory state in this country.
Adam, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for having me on. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Well, we'd love to have you back, sir.
Great. Thank you. I'd love to.
All right. Adam Ossoff joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Coming up, people are now saying it's time to ban the AR-15, and we'll take your calls on that, the latest fallout over what happened in Florida, and your chance to go to the exclusive 2018 Idaho Second Amendment Alliance Gubernatorial Forum. That will be at the Nampa Civic Center. We have a family 4-pack that we'll be giving away between now and 6:30. We want to thank Greg Pruitt, who's in town. We're chasing him. Hopefully we'll get him on maybe Tuesday, and we will take your calls coming up how you can win those tickets as we move along. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning. Why don't we just do this between now and we're going to do this anyway. How about, Ray Mai, if you don't mind, we'll take caller 5 right now for our family 4-pack at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. This is for the Gubernatorial Second Amendment Forum. This will be at the Nampa Civic Center on Tuesday, the 20th. And do want to thank Greg Pruitt and the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. You'll see all the big gubernatorial folks. They will be there. We'll be there as well, and very proud to promote the Second Amendment. Certainly have a discussion about it today. So, again, 580-5436 if you would like to attend that. We have 4 tickets for you right now. Let's start with Jim from Middleton at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Kevin. Kevin, I wanted to bring another strong point out that we need to send a strong message to the constitutional violators that want to ban the AR-15, magazine capacities, and so forth. And that is this. This individual, Nicholas Cruz, that perpetrated this act, was derived from the progressive left, okay? And now they want to lump us, all of us other citizens, down to his level and say we want your gun also. And like I said the other day, wherever liberals go, the cultural of sickness always follows, the decay, and the excuses and so forth. And we need to call this out because these firearms have been around for years, semi-autos and so forth. And we're having these issues now with this mental instability. People don't even know what genders they are in certain countries or certain states and what have you anymore. They've turned everything upside down, confused our young people to the point where they're committing acts like this. So, again, we need to push this back and say, hey, listen, what you're doing is you're violating our rights and you're insulting us as citizens by implying that we're as bad as Nicholas Cruz because now you want to take something away from us. I wanted to send that message out, Kevin. And one quick other question. This deal on Tuesday, what time is this and where exactly?
It's at 6 o'clock at the Nampa Civic Center.
It's the Civic Center. That's not by the Idaho Center, is it?
No, it's just it's a little deeper in downtown Nampa. If you want to go, let me know, and you can either pick up the tickets here or we can make a deal for you.
Yeah, Kevin, I'd like to go. I'm going to be off all that next week and what have you, and I need to support this and get a little more educated myself. But I wanted to send that message. You know, these people are insulting the rest of the American citizens by adding us into Nicholas Cruz's category.
All right. Well, I'm going to put you on hold, and Ray will get your information. And do you want, 2 tickets or 4 tickets?
Well, probably just one.
All right.
Is there what else is going on there? Just
you're going to have all the candidates for governor. Greg Pruitt will be there. We'll be introducing Greg, I believe. I hope so. And if not, we'll still be there. But it's all about the Second Amendment and their thoughts.
And from 6 o'clock to what time, Kevin?
Till they're done. I hope it's early because I have to get up the next morning.
Okay. Well, put me down for one for sure, and I'll have to find out if my wife wants to go.
Oh, we'll put you down for 2 because we've got the last tickets. So.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, Jim, hang on. Thank you for listening.
You bet.
All right, we're going to have a couple pair of tickets for Jim as well, Ray. Just FYI on that. It is 6:27. Kevin Miller in the morning, in time for traffic and weather. And Kevin Miller in the morning, we continue on. Congratulations to Mary in Boise. She got the family 4-pack to the tickets to the Idaho Second Amendment Gubernatorial Forum. That is Tuesday, February 20th. We hope to see you there. By the way, thanks to Greg Pruitt for inviting us. We're going to be there as well. I don't know who would be calling me at this hour of the day. Anyway, regardless of that, let me just make sure that is Tuesday, the 20th. If you would like to go, keep it here for your chance to win. And the Second Amendment is what we'll be talking about here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you missed it yesterday, Brian Williams was asked a question concerning whether or not weapons should be banned. He asked one of the kids who escaped this high school in Parkland, Florida, with his very life. Here is the sound on this, and really it comes down to the media once again going after the NRA, going after Donald Trump, and people now advocating for the government to bring back the assault weapons ban, the government to ban the AR-15. And, again, the more progressive folks will say, well, you don't really need that now, do you? Government should decide what you need and what you don't need.
Laugh at himself.
So what was your reaction when you heard that it was him?
I wasn't surprised, but it was kind of unfortunate to hear.
How, if you were a lawmaker, an adult in a decision-making position, how would you stop, do you think, the kind of thing that happened today? A kid who'd been thrown out comes back with a weapon and takes out whatever grievance he's been walking around with in his head.
Gun-wise, I don't think there's any way to prevent it. You outlaw guns, just creates higher demand for it. I think it has to do with mental health, though. If he's been expelled 3 different times from 3 different schools, I think he should be helped out.
You talk to law enforcement, and they will tell you that's the number one issue. Not firearms, not anything else, but mental health. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll take your calls all morning long. Remember, Preston Sharp, we'll hear from that young man today at about 6:50. He'll be in town tomorrow to honor veterans. Our friend Tammy will tell us about that as well. We are so blessed to start the day with you. My name is Kevin Miller. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
Blessed to be with you. And by the way, the forum, you can't get tickets for the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance Forum, but we do have your tickets throughout the morning here, and we are talking about the Second Amendment in the state of Idaho and whether or not we should ban the AR-15. You know, there were a lot of school shootings that happened during the assault weapons ban as well. It's a very emotional time, a very responsible time, and we take our responsibilities to you very seriously. Coming up, we will have more of your phone calls. First, we go to our friend Tammy Nichols. She joins us to talk about a big event tomorrow. Tammy, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing?
Great to have you with us. So, a big event to honor Idaho veterans with Preston Sharp coming in. You've been coordinating this on the ground. The date is already here.
It is. It's tomorrow, and we are so excited to be able to do this. With all the tragedy that's been taking place in Florida, it's so refreshing to have this opportunity to have this young man come to Idaho and to honor our veterans with his Flags and Flowers State Challenge. So that is happening tomorrow. It's going to be at the Dry Creek Cemetery from 9 to 12, and we're asking for volunteers to come out and help serve our veterans. So if they could start arriving at 8:30, that would be great, and Preston will be here, and it's going to be an exciting event.
Well, we'll hear from Preston later on in the hour here at KIDO Talk Radio. What does this mean, and what's it like to work with him, and why should people do this, Tammy?
Well, you know, Preston is an amazing young man, 12 years old, and there's not a lot of 12-year-olds that take on initiatives and put forth action to do something of this magnitude. And so he is just a great young man to speak with, and he just has a service heart that he wants to serve our veterans and to honor those that have passed on. And so, he's a great young man and a great example to all of us. And so I'm just really excited because I love his cause. I love what he is trying to do, and to be able to take those that have sacrificed for us, that are working on, have protected our freedoms and have fought for us, and to just give them that honor and respect that they deserve. So it's been a great opportunity to be able to work on this project.
So, Tammy, if people want to do this, what can they do? How can they be involved tomorrow?
Oh, well, there's a couple of ways. So tomorrow we have 3,000 veterans approximately that we're honoring tomorrow with a flag and a flower. So if they can come out and help with that, it's very simple. There'll be a little event. Preston will be speaking. There'll be a color guard. And so we're going to be starting at 9 o'clock. And so if they can come out and help with that, dress warm. It's not supposed to be terrible, but dress warm, and there'll be groups that everybody will be put into, and then they'll be able to help honor the veterans, and all the instruction will be given. The second way that they can help is if they can come out tomorrow, great. If not, or if they want to do this in addition, is to make a donation, because Preston's plan is to go to every state to honor our veterans with a flag and flower. And so sometimes he can get donations for those things, but any donation that he can receive in cash is also very helpful, and that can be made at his website at prestonsharp.net.
Tammy, thank you for thinking of us. We can't wait to see Preston tomorrow. I know it's going to be a big event.
Yeah, please come on out, and we'd love to have everybody out. And, of course, many hands make light work, so the more people that we can get out there, the better. So thank you so much for helping us with this.
Tammy, take care.
Thanks, you too.
All right, and again, we'll hear from Preston Sharp at about 6:50 this morning. Let's go to Pete in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pete.
Kevin, good morning. I have two comments on this murder killing. The individual has confessed, and so I don't want him referred to as a shooter anymore. He is a cowardly murderer. He deliberately went to a place where he knew nobody would be able to fight back. So call him a cowardly murderer from now on. And I have a better idea. Instead of banning AR-15s, I would like to ban the one thing that all of these mass shootings have in common, and that is the establishment of a gun-free zone. Every single one of these has been committed by a coward who has deliberately gone to a gun-free zone. And what I want to see now is, since people who have concealed carry permits have gone through all the FBI background checks that the left in this country thinks everybody should have, if you have a concealed carry permit, concealed weapons license, a gun-free zone does not apply to you. If you're a teacher, if you work there, whatever, and you want to go in and carry a gun, you go in and carry a gun. Let's end the whole gun-free zone, because all those is guaranteed victim disarmament zones. I will bet you that coach that was killed trying to protect those kids, I'll bet he wished he had a gun.
Pete, great point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning here as we move along.
Another very sad day in America, another senseless shooting, this time at a high school in Parkland, Florida, where a gunman, a former student, opened fire yesterday. Again, 17 lives have been lost, more than a dozen people are hospitalized. And our president, as he should, weighed in on the tragic events this morning from the White House.
We are all joined together as one American family, and your suffering is our burden also. No child, no teacher should ever be in danger in an American school.
Agreed.
No parent should ever have to fear for their sons and daughters when they kiss them goodbye in the morning.
Agreed. So I agree with both of those statements. And here's what you do to fix that. Tell your buddies in Congress, tell Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and Marco Rubio, all the family men who care so much about their communities, that what we need are laws, real laws, that do everything possible to keep assault rifles out of the hands of people who are going to shoot our kids. Go on TV and tell them to do that. I'll tell you something. That is a perfect example of the common sense you told us you were going to bring to the White House. It's time to bring it. We need it. Tell these congressmen and lobbyists who infest that swamp you said you were going to drain. Force these allegedly Christian men and women who stuff their pockets with money from the NRA year after year after year to do something now, not later.
There we have Jimmy Kimmel last night making his emotional plea to continue with gun control, to go after the powerful NRA. Your thoughts at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's start with Steve. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Stephen Mason, good morning.
Hey, how are you doing? I haven't called in for a while, but I found some interesting information out about this school shooting in Florida that, isn't being covered, but yet it was in some of the interviews that happened that were live. And this is actually on YouTube, and you can actually see some of the videos. But there was a reporter from Houston covering the Astros, and he was called over to the school for the school shooting. And he interviewed a woman that said she was with the shooter at the time of the shooting was going on, and he wasn't shooting. There's also other students that were saying that there was multiple shooters. Why is the media not looking into that? Why are they suppressing it?
Well, that's a good point. But you see where the media narrative is. It's banning the AR-15. It's creating laws. There are more laws on the books concerning guns than anything else.
I totally agree with you. And, I see them turning this into a totally political thing just to grab guns. But, I think that if we have callers that call in and tell you guys about these interviews that actually happened and you can actually see them. The reporter's name was Mike Musil, M-U-S-I-L, and it was from WHOU in Houston. And he was there interviewing the people live, and there was other reporters. I think if we spread the word, maybe we could actually get media to cover that.
That's a good point, Steve. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good day, Kevin, and happy 50th.
Thank you, sir.
To what she said to us.
How do we allow a gunman to come into our children's school? How do they get through security? What security is there? There's no metal detectors. The gunman, a crazy person, just walks right into the school, knocks down the window of my child's door, and starts shooting her, and killing her. President Trump, you say, what can you do? You can stop the guns from getting into these children's hands. Put metal detectors at every entrance to the schools. What can you do? You can do a lot. This is not fair to our families, that our children go to school and have to get killed.
There we have it. Lori Adahef, her daughter Alyssa was killed, and again, you have people crying, you have people acting rather emotionally, and you think to yourself at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, is this how we should have a debate? Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the people who have lost loved ones, but they're being used for this political purpose to ban weapons. Already the Washington Post, once again, calling for the assault weapons ban. Remember the school shootings that happened during the assault weapons ban as well. And then you have people saying, get rid of the AR-15. You, as a citizen, do not have the right to own an AR-15. Never mind the millions of law-abiding citizens that protect us each and every day. Cindy in Caldwell, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for being a light in the midst of a lot of darkness, and that mother's sorrow and grief is so palpable. It just takes me a second to, if you've lost someone very instantly, it does shake you up. But on the other hand, that person you had on, Jimmy Kimball, I mean, how despicable. His ginning up that emotional, his mouth is a weapon. His words are just as much as a weapon when I think of all the horrendous things that the progressive left does to continue to, it does rile up the unstable. When I think of, our Congressman Trott, when you rile up people with this despicable thought and try to polarize people, which the left is so good at. It's just tragic. And, I'm going to go to the light because I can't get there tomorrow. I'm doing some things with Preston, but I will make a donation. But how on the opposite, he is everything good with his being out there tomorrow, putting those flags out for, showing us American patriotism. And how about rugged individualism? I just think that is absolutely, positively beautiful. And, I have to say, Kevin, how much people should really appreciate those tickets because, I have one for next week, but they were gone a long time ago. I have friends now that can't get them at all to go to this dialogue with seeing the people that will be, running for our governor. So you're always so special, and I just hope people realize how amazing that is. And on a lighter note, how amazing you were. I said to Ray Amaya, my goodness, waking up to you sometimes like going into an algebra class. That gentleman you had on from, I believe, the Center for Protection for Intellectual Transparency. Anyway, it was about patents. So but I like iron sharpens iron, things that do that. And I was wondering, do you think that with all the left being involved and progressivism and socialism and, you really didn't make that, do you think that that's why they're having so much problems because of the ideology that's in these groups now, that it's sort of, that people don't matter, that it's more a collective socialistic thing? What do you think?
I think we're at a tipping point. Cindy, thank you. I've got to run. Do appreciate you. God bless you. Coming up next, Preston Sharp, then more of your phone calls. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. We're joined by Preston Sharp. He's coming to Idaho. He's from Redding, California. Preston, good morning. Good to have you with us, sir.
Hey, good morning.
So, Preston, the last time we saw you, you were at the State of the Union. What led you to get that great honor from President Trump, sir?
So I honor veterans with a flag and a flower, and I go out to cemeteries. So my goal is to honor veterans in all 50 states, and so far I've done 6 states, and I want to get, my goal is to get the 50 states done by the end of this year.
Boy, that's a lot of states and a lot of miles on the odometer. What led you to do this, sir?
So on 2015, on Veterans Day, I went to a local cemetery near me where my grandfather was buried and he was in the Navy. And I went there thinking it was Veterans Day and there was going to be a lot of people there placing out flags on the veterans' grave sites. And when I got there, I didn't really see any flags out on the veterans' grave sites, and I got really frustrated with that. And my mom said if you see something wrong, to do something about it. So since that day, I've placed over 40,000 flags and flowers out on veterans' grave sites.
What do the veterans mean to you, sir?
Like, they really are my hero, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, and I just can't thank them enough.
Indeed. Were you surprised so many people want to be a part of this effort?
Yeah, I was super surprised. When I started Flags and Flowers, I had no idea that it would become this big, or meeting the president or do anything like that. It's just insane.
What was it like meeting the president?
It was amazing. I can't really, I don't know. It's just super amazing, and it was an awesome experience.
Let's talk a little bit about this Saturday. You're coming to Idaho. You ever been to Idaho before?
No, I've never been to Idaho.
Well, we've got a lot of folks here that are looking forward to seeing you, Preston. Dry Creek Cemetery. Now, that's 9600 Hill Road in Boise. We want folks to be there at 8:30. You've been through this. You want to hit all 50 states. Why should folks listening here at KIDO Talk Radio join you in your quest, Preston? What will Saturday be like?
Saturday, well, it will be like me and my mom will have the flags and flowers, and probably we'll go in groups of 2 people, and one will be holding the flags and placing the flags, and then one will be holding the flowers and placing the flowers. And then it just depends how much people shows up, how much time will take to do this cemetery. So, and we also, whenever we honor the veteran, we say the veteran's name out loud, and then thank you for your service.
Boy, that must be very powerful. What goes on in your mind when you're doing this? What do you think about?
What goes on in my mind when I honor veterans is I just can't believe what every single veteran has been through and what they have done for us, and it's just really hard to think about.
Indeed, the fact that, we're honoring these veterans, and your fact, have brought this up. And by the way, you can go to Facebook, the Flag and Flower Challenge, Preston Sharp on Facebook. Are you surprised so many people are taking up your cause?
Yeah, I am super surprised, yeah.
It is fascinating and patriotic. When do you think, so you're going to do this the entire country this year, huh?
Yeah.
Boy, that is something. So, Preston, once again, we want folks to come out Saturday, February 17th, Dry Creek Cemetery on Hill Road in Boise. You're coming to Idaho. It's going to be a great time. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, sir?
Honor veterans every day and not just on a holiday.
All right, Preston, we'll see you in Idaho. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.